Thank you so much, everyone. You seem to have been well served in some of those story roundup for you there. But there's some news just coming in from INEC now. Let's tell you that there is a date for the supplementary election, the Kogi West Central District election. Today, INEC, or this evening rather, a few minutes ago, INEC released a statement saying that after its meeting today, it had fixed 30th of November 2019 for the conduct of the supplementary and rerun elections for Kogi West Central District and Ajaokuta Federal Constituency, respectively. INEC, again, has fixed the 30th of November 2019 for the conduct of the supplementary and rerun elections for Kogi West Central District and Ajaokuta Federal Constituency, respectively. Don't forget that at the end of that meeting, election last week on Saturday, supplementary polls were indicated by the collation and returning officer for the Central District, affecting 20 registration areas, 53 polling units, and 46,767 registered voters spread across 7 local government areas of the Senatorial District. Also, the court ordered the conduct of supplementary rerun poll in Ajaokuta Federal Constituency, affecting 22 polling units. That's some of the stories coming just in now. To our conversation tonight, governorship election in Edo State is few months away. It will happen precisely next year, and the heat is on. A lot has been happening with the rift between the governor of the state, Governor Obaseki, and the APC national chairman, Oshiomhole. There have been some interesting political overtures and twists. Well, today, a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party in Edo State, someone you may call Oshiomhole's major political rival in Edo State, they call him, popularly called, Pastor Ize Iyamu. He was also the governorship candidate of the PDP in the 2016 governorship election, announced his defection from the PDP to the All Progressives Congress, APC. Ize Iyamu, while addressing his supporters at his country home in Benin City, the Edo State capital, described his movement to the APC as a homecoming.
Our people in APC have also been calling out to us from the national to the state to say, look, you form this party, where will you live? No matter how angry you are, time heals all wounds and all that. And we noticed that very many genuine and credible persons among them were actually coming to us to say, look, why don't you come back, let's form, a larger family, let's stabilize the policies of the state. And at the end of the day, we thought about that, we said, well, it's worth doing. And we chose to come.
Well, when Mr. Ize Iyamu was asked about his ambition ahead of next year's election, here is what Mr. Ize Iyamu said.
It's premature. I have not entered a place. You're talking about the election. That's premature. I'm going there to help build up the party. So the issue of election, nomination is not it at all. For now, what is important is go there, contribute my quota.
Well, I'm setting some kind of premise for our conversation tonight. There are a series of contending issues. Some chieftains of the APC have questioned why APC has not held a NEC meeting in the face of the many crises rocking the party. That meeting will happen tomorrow. As we speak right now, the APC is holding a caucus meeting. We understand it might be holding at the presidential villa. Well, a lot of issues are happening. The suspension of some governors, the suspension of some sitting senators and former governors. There are several issues rocking the party that might be brought up at the NEC meeting, which a lot of officials or chieftains of the APC were saying, maybe that's the reason why some of the leadership of the party is afraid to call a NEC meeting. That will happen in that meeting tomorrow. We'll look forward to see how that plays out. Well, with the coming of Ize Iyamu to the APC in Edo State, what does this mean? Don't forget, there are rumors that Governor Obaseki, the governor, might be going to the PDP. Now, Ize Iyamu has moved from the PDP to the APC. There are also people like General Charles Ayavere, Mr. Osa. There are a lot of people. There are a lot of permutations happening ahead of the elections next year. Who is on the side of Ize Iyamu? Has Ize Iyamu crossed to the APC on the Oshomhole's faction or on the Godwin Obaseki faction? Let's discuss the implications of this for Edo politics and, of course, the APC. Joining me from Abuja studio is a chieftain of the APC, and a former lawmaker, Mr. Cletus Obon. And also I have perhaps one man that has also spoken for the Godwin Obaseki side is Mr. Ize Iyamu. Thank you so much. He's a lawyer, university lecturer. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. Let me begin with you, Mr. Iyamu. The implication of this is perhaps a major antagonist of Mr. Adams Oshomhole coming to the APC with the rumors of Godwin Obaseki going to the PDP. Where do you think the hope of Godwin Obaseki re-election lies?
Okay, is that my question?
Yes. Absolutely.
I think the entry of Pastor Ize Iyamu into the fray, it's quite obvious. He was the governorship candidate of the PDP in the 2016 Edo governorship election. And coincidentally, some of us did support him then. And at some point, we found ourselves in a situation where, we had to give him all the support. But, it's quite unfortunate that he finds himself in a situation where the same person he contested against is now going to be contending with him in the intra-party primaries. Obviously, Oshomhole wants Ize Iyamu to come into the fray because, the other persons he has approached to run for governor, they appear to be a bit reluctant. And, to a very large extent, I think he's within his right to come into the APC to run for the office of governor. But I think the constitutional provisions of the APC, of course, we brought, to bear. And I just hope, they will not have to go to court over this. But importantly, there's this issue that...
Sorry, apologies, Mr. Iyamu. We are ripe for a break. Sorry, it's early, it looks so. When we go for this break and when we come back, we dissect more on these issues. Join us again, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. So, the crisis rocking the APC in Edo State has hit a fever pitch. And so, a lot of people will be asking the question, because this has been raised before. There's something that has been tagged the arm-body treatment. What does that mean? Well, for those who are in the APC might understand better, and this has been muted also in Edo State. Now with the coming of Ize Iyamu into the APC, well, Ize is homecoming. What does this mean? Tomorrow there will be NEC meeting. Mr. Oshomhole has been fighting a lot of battles on the home front and at the national level. How is he going to move around those kind of climates? Well, let's get back to my panel tonight. Mr. Cletus Obon is the chieftain of the APC and a former lawmaker, Mr. Ize Iyamu. Quickly, let me allow you to land on that thought and let me get a view of Mr. Obon. What were you going to say before we went on break?
Okay. Is that mine?
Conclude.
Yes, I wanted you to land on that thought so that we can get Mr. Obon's views.
I was about to say that, when you look at the crisis ongoing in the APC, it's very obvious that somebody is trying to distract the attention of the National Executive Committee of the party. And remember that the Kogi elections, he has always tried to take the credit for that election. This was the same Adams Oshomhole that was against, the nomination of Yahya Bello, but at the 11th hour, the president had to prevail on him. And of course, the Bayelsa one, it was very clear that it was a case of, misplaced godfatherism because the governor wanted somebody from his local government, by all means, as a governorship candidate of the PDP, and of course, somebody as his running mate from his senatorial district. So it boomeranged. So Oshomhole did not have any special role in these two elections. So we have to face the main issue. There's a suspension against him, and we expect that the National Executive Committee of the party at that level will adopt that suspension because this man has created crisis that made the party to lose 7 states, and Edo will be the 8th if nothing is done to make Adams Oshomhole to leave the office of national chairman.
Mr. Cletus Obon, you heard that. There's a NEC meeting, there's a caucus meeting as we speak. NEC meeting tomorrow. Is your party headed for a major crisis based on the premise Mr. Iyamu just raised now?
Well, let me say this is a clear case of a storm in a teacup. The Edo crisis, because Adams is from the Edo State. Most of the time, when I speak here, some people come up with an interpretation of your defending. I'm not a spokesman of APC. I am a party ideologically entrenched member who has been leader in my state in my own right. And one of the things, all the things I have said here are things I can defend, and nobody has been able to challenge what I've said. I'm going to start this program, first of all, by dedicating it again to the detained journalists, online journalists in Cross River State, Agba Jalingo and Joe Doc. We want their freedom. They have been detained for overtly saying what they ought to do and ought to say as opposition leaders in Cross River State. Having dedicated this program to the two journalists, Agba Jalingo and Joe Doc, I proceed to deal with the issue of Edo State. First of all, to put the blame of what is happening in Edo or the winning in Bayelsa and Kogi State and say that the national chairman of the party should take no credit. If he had lost, what the PDP is doing to Secondus is what they've been doing for him to make. Tomorrow's meeting would have been a fair accompli. And I'm sure most of them must have been lighting night red and blue candles for that election to be lost by APC as justification for why Adams must not stay. But today, I do think to the grace and glory of God, all has been settled. Where we are heading for, the coming of the Pastor Ize Iyamu. One of the things, let me give you a historical perspective briefly. ACN Vice Chairman South-South before the merger was headed by Pastor Ize Iyamu. Ize Iyamu is a Bini man. And of course, there would have been nothing like Obaseki if there was nothing like Oshomhole in Edo State. And let me make this point clear. Ingratitude begets poverty, whether political or financial poverty. Here we are going to get into a state of political poverty because ingratitude is the mother of poverty. And
Mr. Cletus Obun, clarify, because it seems you're talking in Proverbs. Who is not grateful here in the sense of Obaseki and Oshomhole case? Do you see that there's going to be a major fallout? Do you see an ambode treatment in Edo State happening next year? Do you see an Ize Iyamu effect dovetailing into the APC in Edo State? Quickly, please.
Yes, I'll give you this. What I mean by that is that the ingratitude in Bayelsa is what is about to play out in Edo State. And two, that Ize Iyamu's coming necessarily may be a gunboat diplomacy in which Oshomhole, being a political actor, is trying to announce what you call Operation MAD, M-A-D, mutually assured destruction. But you can find that an Oshomhole in the present circumstance has nothing, absolutely nothing to contest for in Edo State. He served his 8 years. He can never aspire, even if he does, can never be governor of Edo State anymore. So the person who needs to play the game and get his act together, not to get the ambode treatment, which is that he shouldn't put himself, whether you hate Adams Oshomhole or not, he has supporters. Whether you hate him or not.
Let me get Mr. Mwanta. Mr. Mwanta, you heard him. What he said now, ingratitude and the issue of the self-destruction that he's talking about. Do you see a major factor affecting Obaseki's re-election?
I don't think it will be a factor because if the Chief Aneni, we all know as Mr. Fix-It, could not fix Adams Oshomhole out, we don't see Oshomhole now as Mr. Fix-It Reloaded, deciding the fate of Edo people, because this issue of godfatherism, we are always going to talk about it for a very long time because Oshomhole pretended he was fighting it, but he's practically now the godfather. He has brought my friend and my leader, Ize Iyamu, back into the fray after pursuing him in 2016 just to contest against Godwin Obaseki. And you know the name of the governor is Godwin. At the end of the day, God will win. And I know certainly...
Let me get this from you. We need to close the program now. Is Godwin Obaseki going to the PDP?
He's not going to the PDP because as the deputy chairman or the vice chairman of the APC Governors Forum, that's the Progressive Governors Forum, his chances of getting re-elected is 99%. And
all right, let's close the program now, and we're going to do that in 20 seconds with Honorable Cletus Obun's final thought. Honorable Cletus Obun, you heard him. Your final thought in 20 seconds, please.
Yes, let me say this. I know that Adams Oshomhole is both inept. He's not given to double speak, and he's an ideological Puritan who is ready to do anything for the party to succeed. And because he's coming from a Edo state, and you hear chapter chairman, under what section of the constitution of the party is Adams being suspended by chapter chairman? It is a case of the ant going for a festival with the elephant. I do think that this is completely a suicidal mission for Obaseki, and it is in his own enlightened self-interest politically to realign himself and get himself reconciled with the factors that brought him. Any stream that forgets its own source will get dry, and Obaseki should not make himself a victim of his own creation.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Well, I think it's going to be a very interesting one. Ize Iyamu has moved. We're going to see what happens tomorrow at APC's next meeting. A very interesting scenario. Thank you so much, my guest tonight. Ize Iyamu, a lawyer and a university lecturer. Also, Mr. Cletus Obun, a chieftain of the APC and a former lawmaker. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight. Well, that's our show tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimbale. Bye for now.